rolling out After Dark with Georgette Pierre, my interview series. You and I sat down 3 years ago to do the things, and I appreciate you for that. And I basically had to premiere it not the way that I was premiering it with the first 2 episodes. And so it went, I dropped it on IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook.
It looks fire.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the compliments have been that Justin did a phenomenal job. You look good. There have been questions on the side about you, and there have been. And so I was like, man, like we didn't get to do this the way he deserved. The Q&A didn't happen the way it should have went down, and so there were some technical difficulties on my end, and we have finally arrived to the Q&A with you and I, and I get it. It's a Friday night, but people will catch the replay. And for those that are going to join us, gang, we appreciate you. But Bunx, thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I see you and Justin set me up every time. I don't have my wine glass with nothing in it. Like
I got my glass because he had his glass, and it's a
you
vibe.
saw that the flex.
The glass is a whole.
Justin, we can't do this. I said, Justin, I gotta come with something. Next time. I got
a different drink, but I'm gonna keep that off camera. This is just water right here.
Oh, now that I feel like because you're drinking something, I have to open up a bottle of my red before Justin and I talk at 9:30 tonight. So
whatever,
Bunx, giving some backdrop to those that may have not seen the episode yet. And if you haven't seen the episode, we're on week 3, episode 3 with Bunx Dadda, who's an artist, producer, extraordinaire, vibe guru, all of the things. And you know, from catching up from when we Latoya, I owe you a response to your voicemail. You know the vibe, Bunx.
What up?
So catching people up that may have not got a chance to see the episode yet, it's on my IGTV. You know, you and I sat down. You and I went back to high school. From high school, you live in LA, and you went out to LA to do your thing, and even I think scoring for television, making music as it related to the entertainment industry, working with a lot of artists and things of that nature. Ooh, someone said you're cute. See, I said it. Can you see it? Okay, anyway, I ain't gonna put you on the spot. Hi, Mentee. And so fast forward, like with all the people that you work with, and all the things that's been happening with artists in the industry, I think about Megan Thee Stallion with that egregious contract that she had to sign and how she was able to get out of it. How important for you, like how important is content ownership as an artist and a producer from the things that you've dealt with and the things that you've experienced?
I've definitely experienced my share of, you know, as far as dealing with contracts and agreements and stuff like that, just like good deals, bad deals, janky deals, weird proposals and stuff. I think today in 2020, like I just encourage anybody to just do the work. And if you really care about your craft, like research what type of deals are out there, what makes sense for you. Understand what role an attorney plays, what role, you know, a label plays, a publisher plays. There's really no excuse to not know these things. Like we see movies like Cadillac Records, and we see people have been taking advantage of for like a really long time. So there's a lot of knowledge out there. Like you don't ever have to rush into any situation. Just use the resources, you know, that are around you, and just make that investment into your career. Take that time and just understand what you're, you know, getting yourself into and what options you have available.
What lessons did you learn? Like, what did anything specifically happen to you that you can pinpoint where you're just like, that shit's never going to happen to me again? Or like, let me make sure whoever's coming up under me that I guide them or advise them on this as a mentor type relationship.
I've seen my share of different scenarios. I'll say this though, like, as far as like deals and stuff like that, any situation I've ever gone into with another artist or whoever, any other entity, I think it's logical and just like a no-brainer that like I want the deal to be fair. And a lot of times, like I'm known for being too generous and very like empathetic to other people's situations. So like my mentality is like, if we do a deal, I want it to be fair, because even if you're new to the game, I'm always learning too, but even if you're new to the game, you're going to learn the game as you go as well. You're going to meet more people and learn and just like absorb information. So I would never want a reputation for having done bad business with anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I pride myself on like coming to the table just wanting to do what's fair and like never trying to like, you know, do too much or ask for too much or be too greedy or anything like that. Like definitely one was owed, but you know, you just got to be careful in those type of situations too.
How do you balance the business of being a creative and being the business side of it, right? Because I have these conversations. Shout out to Alexis, because she also went to high school with us, and she and I had just gotten off the phone, and we're just talking about different things because we're both in TV industry and we're running our own companies. But you know, the one thing that I struggled with was like, yes, I am the creative, but I'm also having to manage the business side of that. And I know it looks a little bit different in various industries, but for you as the artist and as the producer and as other things that you take on, other roles you take on in the music industry, how have you balanced those sides?
It works out for me because I'm just very I like to be involved in all of the different areas of what I have going on. So, you know, part of it is just being a millennial and having to have had like a DIY background with a lot of things. So I learned how to do different things on my own and wear different hats. I don't always want to, but over the years I've grown to enjoy those things. So like I don't mind you know, carrying a load like that, but at the same time, you know, you just got to delegate your time and know that
Yeah,
if you're in your creative space, let it be your creative time. And when that dries up and you might run out of ideas or you're not in that zone anymore, then you need to get on some admin stuff and just make sure all your business is in order. Then get into that zone and just go hard on that. Like it's a balance and you'll find your own tempo and pace as more specifically when things start picking up for you. You'll see where you can handle things and where you need help.
right.
When that moment comes when it's like starting to pop off, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, fast forward 3 years later from our conversation, I know you were transitioning into reggae being your next act, but that's also like the roots of where you're from. Your family's from the islands, my family's from the islands. You know, why was it important for you to connect to your authentic artistry space, right? Versus kind of staying with what was popular and what was in? What was it that was just like, nah, I gotta go where it just feels right, and then everything else will follow?
Just like what you said, what feels right. You know what I'm saying? I found myself being able to emulate a lot of other things and like do it well, but it wasn't really resonating with me, and it wasn't sustainable for, you know, social reasons, spiritual reasons, a lot of different reasons. Um, and as far as culturally, like it was something that I would just always draw back to no matter what. Like it was a constant thing. Like I'm pretty sure, you know, there's pictures of me at house parties in the, you know, when I was a kid, fast asleep while there's like a full ton up, like, you know, I see pictures, you know what I mean? And so I say that to say that, you know, being in that type of environment really allows you to just absorb, like, basically like my palette of thinking in my ear comes from that space, that, you know, West Indian space. So I hear things through that type of sonic lens, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So even to give you a deeper thing, like, and I know you can identify with this, like over the years, like a lot of stuff that I would do, my family couldn't really relate because they didn't know who these people were. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was doing music on the Eve show, my parents didn't know who Eve was like that. Like, they're paying you?
EVE, how you doing?
You're getting a check? Like, that's really, you're safe, you're good? Like, that's all they really cared about. And it was like, all right, like from a parent's side, that's cool. But I wanted to do things that would resonate with my family, that they would know these artists and know these people that I'm working with and like be able to receive like, you know, what I'm doing better and more, you know what I mean? That was like a super long drawn out answer, but
No,
yeah.
it wasn't. And I want to really shout out to everyone that's been joining in. Shout out to Kyle, Kurt, my mentee, Stephanie, Faith, Dre in LA. So many people jumping in. So those that just came in, I am speaking with my friend who's an artist and producer, but he's also the guest on episode 3 of After Dark with Georgette Pierre that I've been rolling out every Thursday on IGTV and Facebook. But we had a little snafu and technical difficulties, really retrograde-ish, as Bunx called it, last night. And so we're like, okay, let's do this Q&A. And so that's what you all are witnessing now. So we appreciate you all for pulling up. The second part of that question, Bunx, was what does that transition look like, right? Because I definitely relate to, I would never say a hip hop artist's name to my parents because they didn't know who I was talking about. Unless you were saying Jay-Z or someone that was like so far in the sky.
Rihanna.
They didn't even know.
Yeah, no.
They're like, Bunx is Trini. No, you're from St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah.
Yeah. My family's from Trinidad and Tobago, but I mean, the accents are still the same.
I could do a great Trini accent. Like half the family's Trini just off the account of my
Your accent is so much better than mine. I don't do it well at all. You got me beat on that. You got me beat. But what does that reggae transition look like for you starting off like scoring for Eve? And I forgot you did that. That was my show when it was on. You know, even dabbling in hip hop because people were trolling the snippets in the comment like they remembered your first artist name. And so for those that haven't heard you yet on the reggae scene, what does that transition look like?
What does the transition look like? Like, how did I...
Getting it, yeah, like the sound and like even like you now presenting yourself as that. It's like almost kind of like a rebrand in a sense. Like, what does that look like?
You know what? If you would have asked me that question like last year or like a year or two ago, I probably would have had a way different answer. But at this point, I realized that my process was kind of like, I went to different extremes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I try to make, like, the most soca record of all time. And then I try to make the most reggae record of all time, the most dancehall record of all time. And then, like, having to scale it back from that and then find, like, where I naturally fit. So if I was to go through my, like, what's in my iTunes right now, you'd be like, none of these sound like the same person, but it all was a process of just honing, like, what's now my sound. So, we're very close. We're much closer than we were when we filmed that interview. But
yeah, like, cause like when are people gonna be able to hear your shit, right? Like, where can they go? When will they?
So here's my thing. Like, I love to like I love Easter eggs, and what Easter eggs are is just content that's just placed on the internet, just different places. I have a whole alias. My whole project right now is online right now on SoundCloud under a different name. I keep as I upload stuff. I just put it. It feels better that it's out, but not out. You know what I'm saying? I like that it's out, but it's not out.
Well, hit me on the jack on the side and let me know.
I'm gonna shoot you a link right after this.
Please, because you were dropping. You remember, like even over the past 3 years, you were sending me things like just to listen to, and I added it to my iTunes. And so when I'm driving around playing music from my car on my playlist, like my rental car, like your songs will pop up.
I'm gonna tell you this, like, there's just a certain space, there's a certain like ecosystem that I want to be in when I release my shit. And my
mentee Stephanie wants your link too. Like, what's up? She's a publicist. She wants that link. She wants the link.
I'm down for. I could use some PR work. That'd be great.
The plug, Stephanie. I'll send you that link, Bunx, so that I can share it with you. Maybe I'll connect y'all too.
Also. If she's good, like if she's good at what she does, that's cool.
She is.
So what were we saying?
About you coming out, like you're happy that it's not out yet, but you have a whole way you want to introduce yourself to the world.
Yeah. You know, and I'm kind of like on some detox. Like, I'm cool being like the Woodbridge Andre 3000, like just like a unicorn, and just like, will he drop something? Won't he drop something? But people close to me, you know, and you've heard some stuff. You like Link Connect. That never dropped, and that's like a jam, like within a circle. You know what I'm saying? A big tune. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's gonna come. I've aligned myself correctly. This year has been like extreme highs and lows simultaneously, in the fact that, like, you know, I've been consistently having placements and dropping stuff this year, and this year was like planned that way to be a rollout year and for me to campaign, you know what I'm saying? But circumstances are what they are. So at the same time, I'm still blessed. Like, I can't complain at all. There's some stuff on the way too that like I'm really excited about and can't talk about.
And a plug as well. So Jason, well, I keep calling you by your real name, but Bunx and I did an interview on my podcast, Black and Nuance, 3 months ago in June. So there's another track that we played. So you all can go to Black and Nuance podcast and find the interview that I did with him for season 3, because we also premiered another track. And so songs that you keep dropping, I'm like, yes. And then you were playing.
So that song, hold on, that song that I played, that's now a whole project. That's a rhythm that like I'm about to drop, and there's like 5 more records on that same rhythm. So like,
oh yeah, I'm gonna repost the episode, I'm gonna repost that episode onto my IG stories for my podcast account so people know and share it, because I remember like, so it was that track. You were playing some stuff last night when we were having technical difficulties, and I meant to hit you like, oh yeah, put that on reserve for me, so I can license that later. There was some instrumental you were playing.
You the reserve queen. Shout out to Georgette.
I come at you and like, I respect it. Like, I talk to Justin about this all the time. Like, oh, I'm gonna give Bunx his due respect. Like, I would like to license.
I have a whole apartment full of flowers that I've been given by Georgette over the years, because she has made sure to let me know that she rocks with me over the years. I'll tell you that much.
I don't play. And
cheers to that. Bink.
Right, I don't have any. Shameless plug, the music bed for After Dark and the music bed that y'all were hearing when I was doing the Q&As and the premieres like the last 2 weeks, that was produced by Bunx. And that was a track that I actually swapped out from another track he did for me, because he was just randomly riffing on IG Live. I was like, yo, can I get that joint? And because my director was like, you should keep your songs consistent, he swapped out the first 3 episodes, including yours, from the old instrumental you let me license to the new one.
I feel like it's only right.
Yeah, but to be honest, I prefer this one anyways. I'll sometimes listen to that instrumental, Bunx, just because I'm like, I'm in the mood. They can hear it, but I don't know where it is on your thing.
I think you made an excellent choice.
I did. I appreciate that. You moved quietly in the production credits. You've worked with a lot of people. I mean, there's people that you're comfy name dropping, but beyond the name dropping, can you explain the process of getting on the radar of some of these artists and how it's not an overnight success?
It just really takes a lot of networking and sometimes being strategic. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't realize how many, for most of my career, people have not known where I live at, because depending on, like, they might meet me at Grammy weekend and then see me at All-Star weekend, but then bump into me at South by and then see me at Coachella. Like, not to like flex or nothing, but there's a whole like strategic way about just following the calendar of how the industry moves and being able to align yourself with these different people. You know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, like, the game is just like high school. It's just on some like who you know, which table you can sit at and shit like that. Excuse me. And like, so you have to kind of also, again, do the research. Like, you want to work with a certain artist and they got 1 million followers. You might not, that DM might not get through of that Dropbox link. You know what I'm saying? But do you know who manages that person? Do you know who, is a stylist for that person, or who shoots that person all the time? They might be a little more accessible. Now, I'm not saying you need to hit them up to shoot them to your music. Maybe you can, but just saying there's a lot of different angles and a lot of different avenues to get to into certain circles. You know what I mean? So like, don't be so short-sighted as far as like who you interact with and who you reach out to. And also, like, don't underestimate reaching out in general. Like, I've gotten some good things happen for me through DMs, and I hate social media. Like, I hate reaching out. You know what I'm saying? But you got to do what you got to do. So, like, I just encourage.
To be clear, like Stephanie is saying, because she's a publicist, she said the DMs are not getting through because some people don't want you to hit them up via DM.
Yeah, and it's not going to hit every time, but like,
yeah,
I almost said a name, but I hit somebody the other day. I just tagged something that they posted, and they posted it, and then we just started a conversation from there. And it was just like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know who's engaged and who's not, who has an assistant running their account or who's actually got their phone in their hand and seeing your message right there.
Right.
And also just common sense. Like if you come correct, some messages get seen without the little scene thing being, you know, shown on there. So just articulate yourself and do it well.
We got to change the culture. I mean, I noticed you curved the first part of the question. I really
What was
wanted
that?
to name drop some people you feel comfy talking about, because I feel like Bunx, people, you're an anomaly that people
Like people that I've worked with.
Yes, because you came from Woodbridge, Virginia. We both grew up there, but I think it's so important for people to hear where you started and how you got to where you got to, and still see like you can do this too. I work with these people too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I did music supervision for like 3 Paramount shows. Worked on Project Runway. I did the theme song for a show on BET called Model City. Like they actually took my single at the time, which was called Go, and made it the theme song. Produced records for Hitmaker, Trey Songz, Twista, Shauna, Maxine Ashley, Bia, Kali Uchis. It's a lot of Kali Uchis stuff, a lot of her early stuff, her most recent project, Gold Link, and then there's stuff that I've done that's just like not necessarily credited on the radar, but like I've been in studios and done records with the Chris Browns, like not even the Chris Browns, Chris Brown. I've been in the studio with Wayne and co-written on stuff that didn't drop. You know, allegedly there's a R. Kelly track somewhere in the universe at a time that was relevant. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying for context. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So, and you know, the takeaway from that is like keep working, because there's a lot of different things and times and moments in my life that I could have really flexed and felt like some shit was about to pop, and it just didn't pan out that way. And other times when things that I had no idea, you know, like someone hit me a year later from a Dropbox that I sent them a minute ago, and they hit me, yo, flame emoji, hella flame emojis, like, yo, let's work. And then now we have damn near like projects worth of music together. You know what I'm saying? Someone who I thought, you know, they probably would have never hit me. So, you know, and there also is just a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So keep shooting the shot. Don't stop ever shooting a shot. I know it sounds cliche, but the most cliche advice is like the most truest advice. Like you can be whatever you want to be. Like if you believe, you know, you can achieve. Like these things are all real.
It's so funny because that was my next question. Like before we get to the last question, was like, what jewels would you drop for people that are waiting for their big break? You know, and I want to shout out Alexis because she and I have been going through the motions of like, okay, God and Rona, what does this look like? Because filming and all that is completely different now. Set life is completely different. Right. And when you're going for your big shot, you're like, you think you got something, and then you're like, damn, like that didn't happen. So what's the next thing that's supposed to happen, right? Like I've been doing, and I haven't been flexing about it, but
you got to understand how blessed you are to even have that be an issue or something to like worry about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it's true.
So that's where I always fall back on. I'm just like, yo, I can't even feel away. Like the fact that I was even in this conversation and whatever, it didn't pan out. Cool. Like I've been on Zooms this summer. I'm not going to name drop those things because those things have already manifested and I wasn't a part of it, but it is what it is. Like you get to meet people see you never know who's watching. That's like, yo, I rock with how he carried himself in that last situation. Even though it didn't pan out, I'm actually a fan now, and I'm gonna make sure that this person gets an opportunity or a look or whatever it is.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes of this conversation, like for the one thing I started doing was not announcing everything. Like, you know how like the world of social media, it doesn't force you, doesn't require you, but we've been so programmed, Bunx, to announce the thing that we're working on and we're doing and the thing that's about to come to fruition. And I was like, ooh, I gotta stop doing that. But with what you had just said about keep working and keep achieving and doing different things, like I have quietly been landing some dream voiceover auditions, Bunx. And
as you should.
And only if people, I was trying to kill something in my damn apartment. Okay, anywho. And I remember before the pandemic, I was like, let me take these voiceover classes. Like I put in the work, something compelled me to take these classes and do all this stuff and pay for this stuff. And then stuff transpired during the pandemic. Anywho, I say all that to say that you know, sometimes the moments look bleak, but that is not the end all be all, and we have to hold on a little bit longer. And so
another gem real quick, it's not always about who's popping. Tap in with who you haven't heard from in a little while. Look and see who's not on the radar right now. You feel
I like
me?
that.
That's another thing too. Like, chances are, if it's an artist, for instance, on a production note, if I'm like, yo, we haven't heard from such and such in a while, chances are they're in the studio and they've been in the studio and they're looking for that one. And maybe you haven't heard from them because they're still looking for that one, or they're just not in a rollout cycle. So I try to keep that list in mind too. Like, I get a who's looking list, like the industry, they send that around sometimes, but I also try to think of like who's not on the radar, like who, because by the time you start seeing them roll,
that you get as a producer, there's a list that you know of artists looking for tracks or producers or managers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's twofold. I feel two ways about that list though. Like, it's been around for a while. It's called like the industry who's looking list. You can reach out to like an A&R, whoever. They usually have these lists, and a lot of times they're just kind of like manually made on the spot, depending on who you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're big acts, and like I said, like if you get the heads up on somebody looking for something and working, and if you get a good list, they'll tell you what type of vibe they're looking for. But you know, with me, how I got into the Kali Uchis situation was because I wasn't trying to mess with the list no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like that's dope. Nicki Minaj is working on an album, but I'm pretty sure she has like 5 Bunxes around her, and she has like 3 cousins that are like up and coming Bunxes, and like a whole tribe, a village, if you will, of people around her that would love to get a placement that are close to her. You know what I mean?
That she's going to consider first.
Yeah, every big artist has that. And I heard Timbaland say something like, you know, it's cool to have hits and to just have big records, but you really leave your mark on the game when you bring something to the table, or you are part of a new sound or a new wave. So that's what made me put the list away and really just start looking around me and looking in the street and like purposely going to VA and being like, yo, like, who's out here that's dope? You know what I mean? That's like right there, that just needs a little push, that just needs a little bit of, you know, gas in the tank. So you know, and I thank God for that moment, because that's what led me to, like I said, the whole Kali Uchis stuff and just riding that wave for a second. So
Alexis shouted you out, by the way. She said you were preaching earlier, because again, like our conversation pre this was just, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in like what you're not seeing, or like the not so bad problem to have. And so she was just like, she needed to hear that. And so I want to make sure, and I honored and called that out.
Yeah, no, big up Alexis, respect. Also, Latoya, I see you as well.
Yes. The last question for this Q&A, the global pandemic, Chadwick's death, that hit differently. Kobe's death, Black bodies being killed with no regard for our humanity. What has it forced you to prioritize in these moments?
I'll say 2 things. I guess for some reason, like this year just made me want to just take it back to like square one, you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is like I went to VA for like 6 weeks, and I literally just did what I did when I was like just falling in love with production. And my life basically consisted of like playing basketball during the day, watching TV and movies, and like creating all night long, and like riding bikes, and just like basic, simple before adulting came into effect, you know what I mean? And
you need that sometimes.
Yeah, and it was cool to just like have my day just consist of those things, like waking up every day and just making a smoothie or whatever. Like, so I say that to say like I had to tap in with family, you know what I mean? I had to just like reset and tap in with just reality, you know what I mean? I visited some family. I saw Auntie Ingrid and got some doubles, and went by Melon thing, and you know what I mean? Just it's my inner Trini coming out. But yeah, just like vibes, you know what I mean? Just linking up with the family, just tapping in, seeing how life has progressed back home and stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's always such a contrast from here, but ultimately, the second part of my answer to that is just like my takeaway from all of this stuff, right, is understanding and being patient with the process in terms of how people deal with grief and process trauma and navigate crisis. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, there's been like people have clashed and stuff within families and friends and probably work related things in terms of just like the way people choose to live their life during these times and what things they believe in, what they don't believe in, what side they're on, or on whatever topic, any of the ones you just named. We just got to be patient with each person and like talk to people, communicate with people, ask somebody how they're doing, ask somebody how they're feeling. You know, if you don't agree with something, ask someone how they came to that conclusion and listen to them, you know, and be you know, understanding in just the fact that everybody's situation is different, and people respond to, like I said, respond to crisis and navigate grief differently. So I think we're all seeing that in terms of the people that we're close to and just like different processes that people are going through. And, you know, I feel like that's helped me just maintain like a even like vibe. Like I've had my moments where, you know, some days are better than others and stuff like that. And just all those things you mentioned, that's happening to everybody. Then add my own personal life on top of that. You know what I mean? So,
or even again, people's reactions or triggers to the things that are happening, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just taking deep breaths. Log off, log out sometimes. Just disconnect, you know, go have a conversation with somebody, go take a walk. Like I said, I was playing basketball. Like it felt good to just get up and hoop and
getting back to basics,
and then go make a beat. Yeah, go eat some good food and then just like have my day just be limited to like these things and that's it, you know. And and being surrounded by family at the same time. So yeah, I think that, you know, going forward, I hope that we're all a little more just like conscious of each other, of other people's space. Of course, space is a big thing right now, you know what I mean? So 6 feet, a dweeb. I don't know, like I'm it's only my 400th day out here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a lot to think about. You know, I think everyone has kind of their own thought process about it, but I just feel like there's been a real spiritual reset, you know, unfortunately for those that lost loved ones. But for those, like, there's just been a reset that's been happening that and a reckoning that I think may not have happened if we were all business as usual still. And
yeah, this would have never happened any other way. Like, this is unprecedented.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Unprecedented times. So
I wholeheartedly agree, and you know, I just at least on that part of the question, I think about I've definitely thought about family because I went home for 4 months when New York was the epicenter, and then I'm back in my apartment in New York, and I'm just like, man, Bunx, I was like, to be honest, like I have to get out every now and then because I have moments. You know, Chadwick's death triggered me because my sister died of cancer 5 years ago. And so when I think about it, I'm just like, and then I had this big crush on him. Like it was all these things. And it was just like, whoa, let me delete some of these apps off my phone and let me be around people that hold space for me, like loved ones where I can laugh, like friends where I could just pull up and we just sit and watch him Living Single or discovering some new shit on Netflix. So like that is what I've been doing. And then we just eating and talking shit. But that has gotten me.
Watch some Eve episodes too while you in the, you know what I mean?
Where is it?
I don't know. I see it on my statement. I still get paid off for that, but like I don't know what. I would love for them to
add Eve. I mean, like I like that. People could say whatever they wanted about Eve's show, but I freaking loved that show. Evie, how you doing?
Good times, yo. Yo, I used to live on that set, yo. I used to live on that set.
I believe you.
No. Literally, at like nobody knew that. Like a handful of people knew this. A few of us used to live at Sunset Gower Studios. They shot Fresh Prince there. They shot the Three Stooges there. So a very old lot. and I used to live there.
Oh, it's right next to Netflix.
I used to work on the show in the daytime, and I would leave and whatever and come back at night. And the security guard at the gate was like a young homie. He was hella cool, and he used to hold me down, you know, with things I needed, the little things I might need, you know, here and there. And yeah, I lived there. Little known fun fact, little Bunx fact.
Wow. But those
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Dude, I get it.
I wasn't gonna go home. I knew that much. I had a gig. I went from high school to the league. Like, I was gonna go to Full Sail, and I went straight to work for Paramount. And it was Eve, Cuts, and All of Us. It was 3 different shows, and I was just like, yo, like, by any means, I'm gonna stay in LA and fulfill this like opportunity. You know what I mean?
And that's how you met Justin, my director, right? Because he and I are talking. Okay.
Yes. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to JL. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because he and I are hopping on, and I'll make sure, you know, when we're done, I'm gonna give them all the details. But he and I are hopping on tonight to do our
God bless that good brother.
Yes. Oh man, Bunx, please tell people if you feel so compelled to share, because some people want to know, but the links or whatever you're willing to share, how can they find out more about you, your music? Because I know some people that I've met that actually follow you as well, which is kind of interesting. And I'm like, I don't know if they knew we knew each other, but like I was like, oh, he follows my friend from high school. I was like, oh, okay. So how people can find you and all the things that you're working on.
Listen, follow me right here on IG. BunxDadda.com is on the way. It's getting revamped right now. I'm about to launch something within the next 30 days. These next 30 days about to be real crucial. I'm still on my campaign, quarantine and all. The thing I go turn up. So tune in because you don't know.
Because
you don't know, the thing already turn up. I can't say no more than that.
I gotta go back.
Whitney, big up yourself, yo. Whitney, you're large.
I just saw Whitney. Because every time I see the name Whitney Abstract, I think about the track Whitney Abstract. Duh, 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 duh. Yes.
Whitney, a whole goddess in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, God bless Whitney as well, man.
Yeah, I appreciate.
We go back the long way.
For pulling up and for everyone that stopped by. And Bunx, I appreciate you, and please do not forget about that link. I'm going to connect you with my mentee who's a publicist, and then you all have a conversation, because again, you don't know connecting the dots and this and that. And so but I'm so grateful for you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm gonna
I gotta find that instrumental.
Yeah, I'm gonna preview a new tune. I'm gonna go live again right after this, so whoever wanna pop back in, pull up. I'm gonna play this new rhythm called FaceTime Rhythm. Okay.
Bye, Bunx. Give me a Bunx.
Bless up, yo.
All right, peace.